Hey there, I'm Richard Sims, the executive editor at soaps.com, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down to chat with Nathan Owens. Over the past week or so, his young and restless alter ego, Holden, saw his life turned upside down when it was revealed that he is the secret son of none other than the iconic Malcolm Winters. Nathan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Were you shocked to learn that you were going to be joining the Winters family and having Shamar Moore come on to facilitate this?
Yeah, I mean, shocked is an understatement, to be honest with you. When I when I first got the news, I thought it was me being fired. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, oh, this is it, huh? Okay, all right. And then, as obviously, my executive producer unfolded the storyline and where we wanted to go with it, and told me who was involved. I was taken aback because, for a couple of reasons. One was because it's them showing, wow, we're invested in you and your character. Well, so here you go. Sorry if this is shaky. We're invested in you and your character. So it was like a nod of, appreciation for your hard work as well.
It's kind of a nice way of tying you to the canvas because, since you came on a year or two ago, you've had story and stuff, but you haven't really had anything that grounds you and connects you specifically to Genoa City, whereas
100%.
You don't get more connected than being a Winters.
Right. You get anchored in, and that, yeah, it makes it official now. I'm a part of the bloodline of the four families.
What is it like for Holden when he and Lily, shortly after you discover he's your dad, you find out he's dying, and then Lily and you and Holden find out we can't save him? Is that just like a shocker, and you sort of go to the dark place of I just found my dad, now I'm going to lose him?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head for the most part. I think that Holden's spent a majority of his life always wishing and hoping for, or not wishing or hoping, but he spent his life imagining having a father and even coming up with fake stories to kind of suit that, because the people at his school would often make fun of him for, being the kid with the dead dad. And so he would always he'd put these memories or fake memories into his mind in order to kind of imagine what it would be like. And now he's given this opportunity to have a biological father in person alive, and he seems in his head fumbles it because he can't help him. And yeah, it hurts him. And also too, seeing Lily, I think at Holden's core, he's a good natured person, and I think seeing Lily go through it, because she's obviously known Malcolm for several years. They've been close for years, and they've been there for each other for years as well too. So yeah, seeing her go through it as well too is it's a lot for him to take in. I think he jumps right into being a protector in a sense, like even with Cane and Lily, because as soon as Cane came back around and he was asking about Lily, Holden was kind of protective over Lily almost immediately. Like, I don't know if you remember this part, but he was asking him to do something. He's like, listen, just leave her alone. She's going through a lot. You know what I mean? So yeah. He kind of jumped to her defense pretty quickly. So
Holden's relationship with Cane is very interesting to me, because on the one hand, and he sort of seems almost desperate to be part of his world. He's like, hey, let me help you. Let me tell me what you need me to do, and I will. I know okay. I don't really want to mess with Victor, but other than that, I'll help you.
Right.
And at the same time, he's very protective of Lily. How does he balance?
Yeah.
How does he balance those two things?
You know what? It's interesting. I've actually spoken to Billy about it, who plays Cane, and we're trying to figure out like what is the texture of our relationship here, because we obviously on one hand, like you said, we have a professional one, but it's also there's this underlying feeling I believe that Holden has because Damien was murdered under his watch, and he has some suspicions of his own. I think Holden holds some suspicions of his own about Cane's involvement, even though if he's not going to admit it, he has, he's not naive to think that there isn't maybe some other things at play there. So I think he's kind of, I don't know if he fully trusts Cane and his motives, but this situation in general, with regard to him stepping up to help Malcolm, it kind of puts a filter over it, or a glaze over it, of just like, okay, this guy might have some good in him. But then again, there is a sneaking suspicion for Holden. This is just my own personal thing as myself playing him, like, what's your motive here, huh? Like, why, it could be just real simple and straightforward with Lily and wanting to get back with Lily, but is there something else going on here? Is there a power play somewhere that you're trying to,
It's
you never
probably
know in
it's
Genoa
probably
City.
good for him to be suspicious
It's
of
probably good to be
Kane,
suspicious.
given
Yeah.
everything we've seen since
Yeah.
this version of Kane that came
Right. This
into the
version of Kate.
picture.
Yeah.
What's it like for Holden and Lily as they try and navigate their new relationship,
Yeah.
especially given that when he first showed up in town, she was very suspicious of him. She did not know
Yeah.
what to make of him. And I think his association with Kane probably didn't necessarily help in that regard.
Yeah, well, it's for good reason. I mean, Holden came in as someone else. So when you come in as someone else, it's not gonna really rub people the right way when they find out, oh, you've been lying to me the whole time. Oh, cool. So we're supposed to believe you. Um, yeah, so I think that, interestingly enough, I do think that there's been a couple occasions where Holden has either spoken up or just even before. He stepped up for Lily. I believe we're in the coffee house at one time, and I think they just had a dispute. And Holden came to Lily and he was like, hey, I think he gave her some insight as to like how she should navigate this. That would suggest that he actually is a decent person. So I think there's been little moments throughout where Lily's characters got to see that Holden is not that bad of a guy. So when it comes to cultivating this brother sister relationship, I think it's going to become a little bit easier because her guard is down now, and I think Holden's is as well too.
How does
But
Devon react to this sort of revelation? Because he's also very protective of Lily, even though they're a little bit at odds right now because of her
yeah,
faking a kidnapping. I mean, who doesn't do that occasionally?
yeah. I mean, in this city, we've done it all. I think that Devon's character. Interesting enough, I think Devon isn't as apprehensive as maybe a Nate Hastings. I think Nate Hastings might have a little more apprehension because we had some conflict over Audra over the course of this last year or so. And I think that even when in the scene when Lily was telling the news to both of them about who I am in the Winter's family, I caught a peek of Nate Hastings' reaction, and it wasn't necessarily it wasn't the most warm and inviting and welcoming reaction. It
He's
was
not
more
baking you
like,
cookies to welcome you to the family.
right. And you know what? I think Holden's also aware of this as well too. He's not like he knows that he came in under these pretenses and that this is some work that's going to be needed on his side in order for him to kind of win them over. And but at the same time, he's also seeing them as a family and how they look out for each other and have each other's backs too. So he's like, there's one side of him who's like, I probably won't even, they're never going to accept me. You know what I mean? And also that harkens back to Holden being an only child and not having a father too. He's used to this sort of like loneliness, lone wolf kind of mentality for the most part, I would say.
Looking at Holden's new situation, and in a bigger context than even just the Winters family,
Yeah.
how does this sort of change his place in the microcosm that is Genoa City? Because, a week ago he was looking for a job, and now he's part of one of the most powerful families in town.
My man was just trying to get a job before, and now he's like, okay, all right, throw me into the big dogs. I think right now, at least for Holden's character, is I think he's kind of trying to suss everything out. There's a lot being thrown at him at one time, so I think he's going through a lot of internalization of, the lie from his mom about who he thought was his dad, as well as as well as a situation with Malcolm and not being able to help him out, but then him going through it and the whole. Like, there's a lot going on right now. I don't think he's necessarily figured out where and how the impact is when you zoom out and see like all of how this Genoa City operates with me and this family. But I think when the time comes, he'll understand that he's very aware of opportunities and how this could benefit him in his own personal, endeavors. So I think that he, being the smart person that he is, could navigate that in order to, who knows? own
It
some sort
can't
of.
hurt to be a Winters in Genoa City, you
Yeah,
know? I
yeah,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. I don't. It can't hurt exactly. Exactly.
you mentioned his mom, and I was
Mhm.
really impressed with how quickly and from our point of view, from a viewer's point of view, easily, you and Vivica created this bond as if it had existed for years and years. You played off each other beautifully. Would you
Thank you.
like to see her have an opportunity to come back and be more involved in Holden's life?
I would love that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she's cool, man. She and I got along immediately. Immediately. We jumped straight into mother-son relationship just in general, just joking around and sharing stories. She was telling me a lot about off camera, a lot about how it was when she started on the show and what that did for her career and everything like that too. So we just kind of formed that outside of before we even jumped on the screen, we formed a lot of that backstory, just through our conversation. I told her mine, how I came into acting and yada yada yada, and then it was just easy from there. I think we're fairly similar in how we move around and navigate. And so much so, yeah, she took me to a Lakers game, and I sat courtside, and we got to bond a little bit more because, yeah, we got to bond a little bit more. It was cool.
It seemed so natural. She just
Thank you.
she just lit up the screen, and you guys together
100%.
were amazing. Really enjoyed
Mhm.
that. You also briefly mentioned Audra, who is, of course, a big part of Holden's story, whether he wants her to be or not
Oh
necessarily.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, Audra is something of a she is someone who knows how to take advantage of a situation. Should Holden be wary that when she finds out about his newfound position, she's going to suddenly change her mind about how she feels regarding him?
I think that it wouldn't be outside of Audra's capabilities and thought process to utilize that for her advantage. Very cloaked language right there. I would think so. I would think she would probably use it. She is keen on using those opportunities to her advantage, and from what I've seen, so.
I think that's a good observation. I think that's a
Yeah,
very, very
yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
observation. I'm a huge fan of Zulika's, have been since
That's a
she
great job.
walked on. So, and let's face it, Holden, now that he has all this other stuff, he needs a love life. He doesn't really have
Yeah,
one, although there's Claire,
there is Claire. Yeah,
who
yeah,
he
there's
is.
Claire.
It, given this new position and what it means, how does that impact his future with Claire?
Interesting. Um, I think that they have. I mean, they have their own thing that's kind of separate from. I feel like it's a little bit. Let's see. It's fraught with a lot going on. I think they're trying to like sift through that as well too to find out what they actually have, if they actually have anything at all. She has her suspicions about Holden and his past, and he obviously didn't want to be completely honest with her and kind of held back some pivotal information, I would say. And now they're kind of in this situation where they know that there's a chemistry there. And do they want to explore that, or is the fact that there's a bit of a doubts of trust that might permeate through the relationship and just, or is it worth it to do it at all because of that? And then
And of
on
course,
top of that,
once they do
I
even
was going
think
to
about
say,
getting involved, there's always a secret just waiting to
there's
explode.
there's a secret waiting to explode. Who knows how, Victor would feel about, who knows? There's a lot of ties with family that might not necessarily like that combination. So we shall see. But there is who knows? Who knows? They might have a future.
What's your biggest hope for Holden as he gets settled into this new life?
I want for Holden to have, I want him to have some sort of a love life, like a legitimate love life with a character as well as I want him to show some of his business savvy too. Some of his some of the stuff he learned in Los Angeles and wherever, New York and all of those things. I want him to show some of that savvy when it comes to that.